There we go. And we're back on February 17th, AM edition. Okay. The the answer to all of the smoke screens at the beginning is so that's actually why they sent me down here. So that's actually why they sent me over here. Yeah, yeah. So see what we're doing now, actually, the reason I'm down here today is you guys seen that movie, of course, The Office, right? I'm assuming you guys seen that, like throw me a one in the chat or whatever, right? The Office, and it has the dude in it, and he's like, okay, wow. You know, the whatever the boss dude, he's all super weird. You know, I kind of have that kind of tone. That's who I think of when I'm at the door, like, um, and they tell me some BS line. I always say something like, well, yeah, that's actually why they sent me down here today. Like just slow it way down. They're gonna be like, yeah, well, I don't think I really need it. And they had a guy down here last week. You messed up the neighbor's yard down there, 2 yards down, so we are not gonna get it. So you might as well just save your time and go somewhere else. Gotcha. Yeah, bummer about the neighbors, but actually, see, the thing is, I hear you on all that. Totally agree. The reason they actually sent me over here to your place today is we are going to be down here next week. We haven't heard from you from the mail we sent out asking for a reply. Um, the other guys called in. So just, we wanted to make sure you guys didn't completely miss out or anything, whatever, but like just slow it way down. Well, yeah, that's actually, interestingly enough, that's actually why they sent me down here today. Oh, there was a bunch of those guys out here last week just berating the neighborhood. Yeah, yeah. We had had some calls in from this area that, there was some kind of, annoying sales guys out here probably just, I apologize for that. That's actually why they sent me back over today. They just wanted to get somebody in here that really knew what was going on, and make sure we can help you guys out because, yeah, we had heard, I'm not sure who that was, but anyway, let's just go ahead and get you done while I'm by that, that way we don't have to chance it that somebody, you're going to get bothered again. Whatever. There's nothing they can say at the beginning that isn't going to lead me to like absolutely why I came over here and let's do it right now. Okay. Um, that's the reason I'm not here. That's why they sent me over here. That's actually why I'm at your address. They sent me all the way from the office, an hour away, directly to your house because we had never heard from you. So you're actually in the penalty box right now, and I'm here to save you. So if you ever want to get out of it, you're probably going to need to sign up for like a 2 gig, like now, right? So you don't want to be condescending or a dick at the door, right? But you can be like close, and you can be like, that's what I'm doing, right? So can't drive that in enough. Don't let their smoke screens derail you and don't start replying to them. So the big thing we had was acknowledge them, but don't validate them. Yeah, I hear you. They drove a bulldozer straight through the middle of your house and completely ruined your entire living room when they put the main line in. That's terrible. That's just terrible. Sorry that happened to you. Luckily, that was a one and done, never going to happen again. The main line's in for the rest of your life for sure, since this fiber lasts so long without maintenance. Um, but that's actually why they just sent me over today. Says I know that was such a pain for you. We wanted to make sure you get all the promos and everything once we get this. We're hooking the neighborhood up next week, so I'm here to figure out what day we can get you connected and turn it on. But I just want to make sure we can get you the best deal, and I'll get you all the promos. I got a free month for you. Um, for all that stuff you went through. So let's just get you down for Wednesday, and then I'll make sure all that stuff gets added to the account. Right? But don't go with them. Don't validate it. Don't grow it. Don't sidewind. Straight back to the pitch. Okay. Acknowledge. Don't validate. Feel felt found. Yeah, Susie down there, she felt the same way. Thought this was a terrible idea, but she actually went ahead and tried it when I was down here a couple weeks ago. They got theirs in. She told me now she found that it rocks, and now she feels super pumped. So I'm 110% confident that you'll do the same, feel the same, once we get it in and let you guys give it a whirl here. So why don't we go ahead and just put you down for next Thursday? Give them a call, maybe ask them how they're loving it, if you have any questions. Okay, great. Feel felt found, bandwagon the neighbors against this neighbor. Everybody else already did. Why aren't you doing it? Let's do it now. Okay. Isolate the objections. So you're telling me if I was able to ensure you that we wouldn't bulldoze the back half of your yard again, you were totally down to get it. You just thought that the install was some huge operation. Is that what's going on? Okay, great. Well, here's what it actually is. I'm going to take that away for you from the problem for you. And now that your only objection is gone, and you told me you would sign up if that was gone, we're signing you up. Take a day. Okay? Isolate, get them in the corner. And then remember, you're on their side, you're advocating for them, you're in service to them, and you're helping them get away from that which is harming them, which is the copper internet. Okay. We're never in competition with our customer. We are with them against everybody else. Go with that energy of service. Definitely going to have a better reception. You're going to get listened to longer when you're going from that place versus I'm here to psyop you into signing up for internet. It's honestly not as effective. Can work for a little bit, not as effective. Okay, and actually get them in, staying on, not getting clawback, etc. Right, and having a high install ratio to close percentage. Okay, so that's the review. Questions on those? Okay. Last week we went over how to deal with you go to the door and oh, the internet guy, totally. Yeah, I don't know, we might want it. My wife does all the bills and stuff. You're gonna have to talk to her. Awesome. Okay, so is 6:15 or 6:30 better for you when she comes back? Should I look for a blue car? What color car out here? I'll go ahead and text you, but let me get the number of your wife. Since she's the decision maker and you can't help me at all on this and you're completely a pointless bundle of uselessness over here. I'm not even going to send you my number. Why would I give you information since you're going to do nothing with it? Why don't you just give me your wife's number right now? I'm going to go ahead and text her the pertinent information. I'll be back over at 6:30 so we can go ahead and get her on the map for next week. They're either going to say okay because they actually can't make a decision, or they're going to be like, well, hold on, what is this? And then you're going to find out that was all a smokescreen to get you to go away. And actually, they are the decision maker. And actually, if you're going to just bypass them altogether and go straight to the wife, now they're going to want to get involved and suddenly make a decision about it. Either way, the conversation's going to probably keep going if you treat it like that. If you have sold them for 15 minutes and you're 100% sure this is going in, and right when you get to the final thing, okay, let's just go ahead and get it on the map. Well, oh yeah, I think we want to do it. But my wife does make the choices, so I just want to check with her first. Can I just get your number, and then once have her call you, or we'll get back to you. Maybe get some more information I can show her. Oh, totally. My wife and I make all of our decisions together too, so I get that. I would not be caught dead doing this on my own. I'm sure you wouldn't either. So I'm not going to ask you to make a choice to switch internet today for sure. Don't worry about that. What we are doing though is we're just getting you on the schedule. That's all it is. So we can actually get the physical line into the house to even give you guys the option to just try it, to just check it out. So what let's do is let's get you down for that. And then, the reason we do it this way, is because everybody wants to decide together. Most families, people that are married, they don't, big decisions like stuff in utilities or whatever like this, they generally want to do it together. So we give you, the chance to just get it in, no hassle, no risk, no commitment, no contract, no nothing, all benefit to you, no risk at all. We just get it in, we let you try it, give it a whirl, experience the fiber internet together with your wife. Talk about if it would make sense for you guys to get a faster internet speed over here, maybe save about half of what you're paying on your bill, $1,000 or something a year. If it would make sense for you guys to get a faster internet that's more affordable, pretty much most of the folks down here already did, then great, you're hooked up, you're just going to leave it on. Worst case scenario, if it was just too fast for you guys or just too affordable, you still have that coax in the house. You could keep that on a little longer while that system is still operating, but at least you do have the fiber in the house. Of course, we don't want to hook you up and have you not use it. I don't even get paid honestly until you have the service on for 3 months and you're going to keep it on. So I wouldn't be over here wasting my time unless I was 100% sure that once we got that in, you guys were going to keep it on like everybody does, because it's just simply a better value for the money. And really, we find people don't care down here in the neighborhood. Everybody I talk to, they don't care if they pay Comcast or they pay Fiber First for the internet. They just want the best value for the money on the internet and TV. And once you get it in, you're going to see it is. So If I didn't think you'd keep it on, I'd already be long gone, you know. It doesn't help me at all just to get this thing installed for you, the way it works, you know, down here. But I know you will, so that's why I want to get you down for Thursday. You get it in, you and the wife check it out together. If it makes sense, take a look at the bills, watch a movie on it, watch some of your sports games you're used to. You'll see that buffering wheel you're getting now, gone. Clarity, much better on the TV, instant, you know, internet is just right now. Sounds like your wife works from home or whatever, so she's probably used to sending email attachments, and it's like loading, 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 ready. Fiber, you hit the button, it's already loading. It almost seems like it did it before you hit the button. It's almost freaky, it's so fast. You know, so you guys just try that for a few days. If it's too fast for you or too cheap, just call me and we'll just cancel it, you know. But let's at least get you down so you have that opportunity while we're doing everybody else. Don't want you guys to miss out. Okay. Worst case scenario too, you can call me ahead. I'll just pull the plug. I'll just pull the plug and make sure to not get over here and get you that free line while we're doing everybody else. Great. Okay, let's put you down for Thursday. Okay. Yeah. Very good. So, you know, how to deal with the spouse, right? And I went into some other ones last week, like, you know, in this kind of situation, there's usually one of two ways it goes. There's usually one or two things that we do here, you know, and then basically it's like, we're going to sign you up. That's not an option. We're signing you up. And then there's one or two options. You know, you tell your husband and he says, absolutely no way. So you just, you know, hit a button on your phone and pull the plug on it and never tell him. Or he's like, honey, this is why I married you. And oh my God, you're just taking charge and making decisions for us and saving us money and getting us faster internet. This is what I love about you. Oh my God, I'm going to take you on vacation, right? And you're the queen of the house for a month, right? So you got two choices, one of which is very enticing. The other one is basically everything's the same as now with no real consequences. But the only way to even get those choices is to sign up with me now for an appointment, okay? So you can throw stuff like that out, a couple of one-liners. Watch last week for more details on that replay. But there's some stuff for the spouses. And then we're going to go in just a couple of new ones. So questions on the spouse stuff. I am curious, maybe somebody, a little feedback. Like, we all get that, like, what, once, two, three times a day, every single day. There's like it's like almost impossible to do a day of knocking for over 3 hours and not get at least one or two. I'm going to have to give it to the spouse. I'm inept to make a decision over here. Have you guys had some this week and then kind of tried what we were talking about and seen some success or some different reactions than normal, or what are you guys finding on that? Anybody? Somebody give me something. I want to hear from somebody what you've been doing.
You want how I handle the spousal objection?
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, and also, you know, like, compared to 2 or 3 weeks ago, I mean, maybe you were already doing what we're talking about.
I mean, I handle the spouse objection pretty much the same every time. I'll be like, cool, so she's normally the decision maker for these things. Well, no, we just like to talk about these kind of things. Okay, and just out of curiosity, I kind of redirect all my attention to the person they're saying needs to be there.
100%.
Hey, which one do you think should be more upset about, the faster speed or the lower bill? And I always get a chuckle out of it, and then I'll be like, hey, at the end of the day, my job is pretty simple, guys. A lot of times these ISPs like to give you the first month free. I guess for you guys, you're paying $120 right now for a gig, and that's great. I'm sure they're taking great care of you. I'm sure you guys are more than happy. But in no world does $120 for a gig make more sense than $87 for a 2 gig. Does that make sense? And then, yeah, it makes sense. Cool. So I shoot you over all this info on an email with an installation date attached to it. I mean, obviously you guys are going to need to talk about it, but what do you think would be holding her back? You know, that's typically how I go about it.
I love that. That's golden right there, bro. That's perfect. Yeah, and it's like the same as when you have kids. Like, you know, my son's grown up pretty much, but like when he was a kid, whenever there's choices, you give him like 3 choices, all of which are what you want. They don't know that, but it feels like you're giving them lots of options, you know? So it's like, you know, what would be worse for your wife, the better price or the faster speed? You think she'd be upset about which one more, right? It's like a stupid question. Both of the answers result in let's get this thing, right? So those, I like those questions, especially when you can do them and they're really honest. They're not you could say it in a way that's condescending, like you're freaking idiot, dude. But when you say it like that, how he just did, gem, because then it makes them realize that to not get it is insane. It's stupid. And but they say it in a way that can like lighten the mood and it gets them to laugh. If you can get them to laugh, you're getting a lot more likely they're going to sign up, no matter how they were before, right? If you can get them to laugh, it's good. One-liners and jokes at the door are awesome. And yeah, so you give them 2, 3 choices, all of which result in their signing up with you today. That way they get to keep choosing and they get to feel like they're free in this choice, but ultimately you know that they're still just going down the funnel to they're signing up right now. So, and I love that too, Kaden, how we talked about the last few weeks about how there's always like a secret objection. They'll give you all the smoke screens, they'll give you all the fluff, but then really there's like, they just don't want it in because like they just repainted the house and they don't want to have to paint the box again on the outside because it's going to be gray and it's not going to match. There's overpainting, or it's usually something dumb, but like they have like a secret objection that's really the thing holding them back. And then you went deeper and asked, so if it's not those, obviously that's ridiculous. But like, what do you think really would be slowing her down? Is there anything, or like you guys just like to talk about it together? Right. And then the guy's going to say, like, I guess there's really not anything. Okay, well, then let's get it scheduled. You guys talk about it. Here's my number, blah, 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 right?
Yeah, and I always say, hey, I'm going to leave you guys my number, although I'm a route coordinator. I like to act as my own customer service agent. Seriously, if she has any questions, please, both of you guys call, I typically am good at setting rapport and hard closing at the end of those anyways, because I think for most people, they just don't want to be sold, and they don't want to feel like they're in a position where they have to say yes. They want somebody who is a problem solver that understands their issues better than they do in the moment.
100%. And that's that energy of I'm your advocate. I'm here in service for you. I'm not fighting you. I'm not competing you. I'm not selling you something to see if I can win and you can lose. If you buy it, you win and I win. If you don't buy it, you lose and I lose. This is a rare sales opportunity where everybody wins when they buy it and everybody loses when they don't. There are other things you can sell where they lose when they buy it and you win. But in this one, when they buy it, everybody wins. And yeah, 100%, you're on their side. You look at the problem with them, for them, and help them get out of it. They want to go closer to you and further from the problem.
Well, especially if they're pissed off about construction in their neighborhood or something. Like, you said earlier, oh, you guys messed up my neighbor's yard down the street. Like, screw you guys.
Yep, all the time.
I typically, every neighborhood has like their own unique set of objections. Dawson, hear me, your phone. And what I mean by this is if you could beat them to their own objections and package it the right way, you kind of have a way of disarming them. So it's just like, hey, well, I was actually stopping by. We're the ones doing construction out here. And then you'll read their face. You know what I mean? Like, hey, guys, that's actually why I'm here. Obviously, when we're doing construction, we don't have the manpower in-house, so we got to hire, third-party contractors. When we do that, obviously these contractors, they're just trying to get a quick buck and they dip. So that's actually exactly why I'm here. What happens? Let them go off on you. And then when they're done going off, they are disarmed. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I think we mentioned it 2 weeks ago and I have been spaced on reviewing it, but they're beyond everything we're talking about to overcome objections in real time while you're inside your pitch. The best way to overcome objections is to never even get into them by naming them for the customer before they can tell them to you. And now they can't even say them because you've just taken it out of their mouth, right? And absolutely, as you guys, if you're brand new, you might not realize this, but 110%, every single subdivision has their own unique set of objections that generally they all have the same one. And then there may be a few other little ones within it, but they're all going to have that one. Like the mainline installation was just destroyed the neighborhood, or maybe their main, maybe they love the fiber actually. Sometimes you go to a neighborhood where the whole neighborhood loves the fiber, but their thing is like they all hate Comcast because the junction at the end of the neighborhood is broke and everybody's called in individually and they still won't fix it. Maybe their objection to you is that there was a bunch of guys in there that were really pushy last month. Maybe their objection to you is you've been sending them so much mail And now they're just overwhelmed by your company. You know, maybe their objection to you is, you know, a lot of people in the neighborhood already had it, and they said the connection wasn't very strong back when it first went in last year. You know, whatever it is. Hey, how's it going? Sorry to be a bother. Yeah, I'm not here on the fiber utility for XYZ. Anyway, I know we had a bunch of guys down here last couple months, you know, doing sales out in the neighborhood, trying to sell the service and stuff. Or they were kind of pushy from some of the neighbors anyway. Apologize about them. I'm actually a route coordinator. That's why they sent me down here today. Let me tell you what we got going on. Acknowledge it, don't validate it and grow it. Keep going, throw those guys under the bus, even if it was you, and then just keep selling, right? Whatever it is, you know. Heard a lot of the guys down here, you know, were hooked up last week and, you know, or last year when it first went on, you know, connectivity wasn't, you know, super great or whatever. That's actually why they sent me down. So we have checked all that out, put a couple new chips in and stuff, upgraded the junction. Everything down here now is working great. We wanted to go ahead. We got most of those guys hooked back up. Wanted to get everybody else done. So we are going to come through next week and make sure we can get those connections made. They just sent me over to figure out a good day for you. Whatever it is, just name it, right? And my personal pitch has built into the beginning of it. I'm talking to you as though you have to do this. You have no choice and you're in trouble. And they sent me over here because you didn't do what you were supposed to already. And then the customer's starting to get a lot of pressure and really nervous. And then they're always going to ask me something like, do I have to do this? Or is this mandatory? Because the way I'm pitching it is like, you're just doing it. I'm not even giving you a choice. And right when they say that, I pull all the way back and I say, no, if you want it, you know, because the internet's kind of important to most folks down here these days. Pretty important, you know. And hopefully they're thinking like, F you, dude, the internet's super important. But, you know, if you want it, you know, the internet's kind of important for most folks down here. We can get it done while we're doing everybody else. I just need to make sure, you know, I can get you on the map at a time that's going to work for our techs because we are slammed already. It's filling up quick. But if you wanted it, we can get it done for you while it's free over here. You know, and then they're about to say, but I already have internet. So I look at my phone, I say, now looking at my map here, you guys are still on that spectrum, that old copper coax, right? That's what my map shows. Right, great, great. Not changing that today. We're not switching internet at, you know, right now. You know, all I'm doing is simply getting name, number, email, picking a day for you guys to get on the map to get this thing in. We're going to get it turned on. Once it's on, then usually a day or two after, you're going to turn that old copper off. Eventually someone will probably come rip it out of the house for you and recycle it, get that crap off the house, but just leave it on until this is in, you know, because most folks don't even want to have a day with no internet these days, right? So we'll leave that for you. Not making that decision at the moment. We're simply just scheduling you. Now, as soon as that second is gone, 1 second passes and now it's not then, it's now. And now I am selling you internet. Right then I wasn't selling you internet in my pitch. We're not deciding to switch internet now, which completely de-arms them. Oh, he's not switching my internet. Okay, I can sign up for just an install. Well, as soon as they agree to that and they lose all of their defensiveness about I'm switching them, then I go straight to selling them internet right now. We are switching your internet now. Now, a minute ago, we weren't. That wasn't a lie. That was true. Right then, we weren't switching your internet. Now, 9 seconds later is a different time in life. That now was 9 seconds of eons ago. Now, in this 9 seconds later, yeah, I'm selling you internet and we're going to switch your internet and we're going to switch it today before I leave your door. But the only way to get you to agree to do that with me was to let you know that we're not switching it now, 9 seconds ago, and let you like decompress from the fact that, oh, he already knows what I have. Okay, he knows I have internet. Oh, he's not even trying to make me switch it today. Okay, great. Oh, and then even if I want to get it in, there's no install cost. It's free, blah, 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 blah. You know, maybe you have a, you know, some of these companies we sell for, there is like a little $80 or something, but especially if it's free. Okay, so now there's suddenly hardly any objections left they were going to give you right off the bat. Like it's free, you know, and I'll even say like, hey, I see you're on the old Spectrum copper coax, you know, that's fine. You know, that's why we're over here to getting your fiber connected from the main up to the house, but you're staying on that for today, not deciding to switch right now. So, you know, I'm not here to switch your internet, simply here to schedule you for getting this thing in. You know, tends to be that, you know, that comes with the ability to check it out because it's going to be on. 99 out of 100 people, once they've tried it, are going to go ahead and keep it. So we pretty much know you're going to buy our internet and, you know, whatever. But my job is this: get them sold on that. Yes, okay, we're going to do it for free, nothing to pay for today, you know, because we're coming by asking you to do it while it's efficient for us. Now, I even find that, you know, I'll say, you know, nothing to pay for today. You know, we're coming out asking you if we can get it done because it's efficient for us to just do them all at once and get out of here and just quit bothering you guys and having to keep coming through the neighborhood. So we're not, you know, we have a normal install fee that's all waived. We just want to get these things done and make it even seem like I don't even care if you buy internet. Like we're just the company. We're trying to get this done. That will also de-armor them that you're not trying to sell this to me. Oh, yeah, I see how that makes sense. They're just trying to get it done because it's efficient for the company out there, you know, in the neighborhood, right? You do need to hard sell them at the end. But if you're going to lose them or, you know, and or to overcome the objections they're about to have, just give them all their objections right off the bat and tell them they don't matter. You've already solved it. And now let's move on. And they're never going to be able to go back and say, well, yeah, but I have Xfinity. Really? 5 minutes ago, I told you you have Xfinity and that you're keeping it. You know, I'll even tell people sometimes, like, I couldn't even switch your internet for you today if I wanted to, because you don't even have the line in your house. It's not even possible. I'm just here to literally sign you up to get the line. Then, if you want this internet, you can get it all day. Most people want it. Most people get it the same day they get the line. They have it on. I mean, we're going to have it on for you, but everybody keeps it. I mean, from what I hear, that's all that happens, you know, but that's not my prerogative. My prerogative is to get you installed because you couldn't even get it today if you wanted to because you don't have a line, lady. Right? So somewhere in there, like piggybacking off what Caden said, find the objections in the neighborhood and then just go for them, name them out right off the bat, and then get them off the table. Now the customer can't use them against you. You've already addressed them. You've already overcome them before they can even bring it up. Tell them you know they have internet. Tell them you know what company they're on. You're probably paying the 95 or the 115, or maybe you got the TV with it, so it's 225 like everybody down here. You do 225, great. Okay, well, so here's what we're doing, you know, and when you can tell them all those things and what they have and what they pay and what their things are and how they're going to break the contract to that company if they need to and what it's going to cost, and you know all about it. This is all I do all day. No big deal. You know, I just sign people up. And honestly, I come out like you do, Caden, like root coordinator or a fiber specialist or something like that. Infrastructure coordinator, you know, scheduler. And then people will say, well, do you know the prices or anything? I'm so hardcore not a salesman. They think I don't know the prices or the terms or the speeds or say, well, you probably don't know the prices or the speeds or anything. Like they'll just email us like once we get it installed or what? Well, no, you're right. I am just the scheduler, but everybody asks, so I had to learn all that stuff anyway. So, you know, I do know the details here. Let me go ahead and explain to you how it's going to work. And I'll do the wholesale, and by the end, they'll be like, you're actually a salesperson, aren't you? Yeah. Yeah, I'm a sales guy for the installs on the infrastructure side of things.
It is funny when that happens because it's almost like they you know how many customers I've had to admit that they were full of shit when I first started talking to them?
Yeah, I get ladies that are like, oh, I'm on the phone. Sorry, I'm really busy. 20 minutes later, when I'm done signing up for a 2 gig, there was never anyone on the phone. They're still holding it to their head, trying to keep the lie going. I'm like, ladies, I knew there was fucking nobody on the phone for the you know, like, oh, that's okay. Just put them on speaker. Oh, here, yeah, maybe they want to hear too. Oh, you don't want to put them on speaker because there's no one on your phone because you're full of shit. Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna pitch you for 20 minutes, lady.
I mean, buyers are liars, and I think reps need to understand that to an extent. Like, it's not like you like call them a liar, but like, there's a way to call customers out to where it's not confrontational. If anything, it's playful and it gets their guard down quicker. Like, for instance, I had a lady who she literally had just found out earlier that morning that her mom had passed away, and she was on the phone with her, and I could tell it was a heavy moment. And her sister on the phone was like, will you just tell this douchebag to go away and leave you some information? I'm like, hey, I heard that. And then they both just start dying laughing. And next thing I know, I'm signing them both up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, it's just those one-liners go very far if you use them correctly. And just understand they're people too. Like, obviously they weren't expecting you to show up. And that's kind of the elephant right out of the bag right there. You know what I mean?
People, and I will use this on, you know, in the name of calling out objections, every single door you knock forever, basically, unless I have knocked a door where the person was literally on the internet, on the website of the ISP that I was selling halfway through signing up, literally signing up right when I came to the door. Like, and they were like, oh my God, I was signing up right now. Like, can you just do it for me? That would be so cool. And then you can give me extra promos that I can't even
That's
get.
exactly why I'm here.
That's exactly why I'm here, ma'am. Yeah. And those who are just like, oh yeah, baby, let's go. I wish I could do 3 of these. You will get those. Literally, you will get people dying to sign up, right? But almost everybody else is their first objection for everyone is I'm in the middle of something and you came to my door at a time that I wasn't prepared for, had no notice of, and you're bothering me because I'm in the middle of something else, right? Everyone has that objection. And that's why I start every door, knock, knock, knock. Hey, sorry to be a bother. That's my first line at every door. Sorry to be a bother. 100,000%.
Yeah, I'm always very dramatic about it. I'm like, oh, I hope I didn't turn your whole world upside down here. And they're like, oh no, obviously you didn't do that. And it's like, cool. You know what I mean?
But definitely apologize for that. Sorry to be a bother. But one thing I will say is, if I feel like they're kind of really like just still going on these smoke screens, like it's like just like ridiculous. Like we've already done 3 of them and they're still bringing it. Like they're obviously annoyed that I bothered them at the door in the middle of whatever they were doing, or hey, let's make this real quick. The game's on. Usually it's like a little further down. Hey, sorry to be a bother. You know what I'm saying? Now, I can tell you're pretty busy. Nobody, including myself, likes having somebody come to the door in the middle of whatever you were doing. You were always up to something more important. I get it. And you didn't know I'm coming by. Let me just make it super quick for you. Here's the bottom line of what we're doing. Just tell them, I know I'm the guy who came and knocked on your door and bothered you and you don't like it. I don't either. But I'm here. So here's what I'm doing, right? Just call it out. Just tell them. And I'll tell people, I haven't hardly met anybody that loves some random dude knocking on the door in the middle of the day when they're up to something else. But all the time I have people texting me after they get installed. No, I was so annoyed when you came to my door that day because I just, I hate anybody at the door and I don't like, whatever. But like reality is we got this thing in and it freaking rocks and you're actually right. So just wanted to let you know, like, we're really glad we just like heard you out that day. And actually the neighbor down the street wants to do, or whatever, right? And so I'm sure, even though I know I'm probably driving you crazy right now, we're 90% of the way through the process just by having the convo we just did. Let me just get your name, number, email, and let's pick a day. Let's just finish this thing off. You're going to be done. I guarantee you're going to be super happy. You might even call me back and let me know that, you're actually pumped. So let's get you done. Right. But it's like, what are they going to say to that? Like, no, I'm actually even more angry than that. They're not. They're going to probably sign up. So yeah, I think that's great. Yeah. And it's like I took karate as a kid, and the best way to get out of a hold, the best way to get out of it if you're trapped or caught or whatever is to never get in that situation in the first place. Same thing with objections. Best way to overcome objections is to never even let them bring them up. Take them out of their mouth and just keep going. Know the objections by studying the neighborhood, and then read their face as you're talking. And as you see objections coming into their mind, just call them out and shut them down. And you can sometimes make it through a whole pitch where you're signing them up and they literally haven't even had it. Like they've had a chance to talk, but they don't have anything to say because every time they were about to talk, you took the objection they were about to give you right out of their mouth. And then there's just nothing, they can't move as fast as you. So they don't even know what to say now. And so then you get a chance to just keep going while they're wondering like, wow, okay. Shoot, you already knew I have internet and what I pay and blah, blah, blah. So, okay. You're just going, right? So yeah, love it. This has been great. Okay. Anybody else? Questions, comments? One thing I was going to go over today, if so, just jump in. But one thing I was thinking about just mentioning here, we probably got, whatever, 5-10 minutes left. One thing you can get that can really rattle you, especially if you're a new in the field, is like, did you know this is an HOA? Are you allowed to be in here? You guys get that? Did you know this is a no solicit neighborhood? You guys probably had that. Nobody ever has that. Well, if you get that, if you're new, it can freak you out and you can start to get all nervous, right? And sometimes we're in an HOA or a no solicit neighborhood and we may or may not have the HOA's, meetings approval or whatever, right? But basically, in short, the way I deal with this is I don't really ever answer their question because sometimes I don't even know the answer to the question, but I do know the answer to the question, which is So back during COVID, the Fiber Act got made. So what happened was, the government decided top down to go ahead and bring a fiber connection to every residence in America. We're the last country in the world to actually get this. Everybody else has been done for 10 to 20 years now. So it's honestly nearly embarrassing for America. But when they did that, that's why the funding got pulled from, that's when the funding got pulled from the copper systems and all the maintenance. It got put into the infrastructure of getting the fiber in. Probably why you notice that bill's been going up and up and up in the maintenance fees on the coax. So when that happened, what went down is every single subdivision, HOA, municipality, whoever's in charge of getting the utilities to the residences here in Willowbrook, they went ahead and picked one of the companies available locally, which happened to be us, to bring the fiber to every house in here. Now, I know you're on CenturyLink right now. They don't have fiber in this area. If they did, they would have just already switched you to theirs, pulled that old copper out, and recycled it a couple years ago. You'd simply be on theirs. We wouldn't be in here, and I wouldn't be over here today. These neighborhoods generally just get one fiber company. Because I'm sure you remember when we tore everything up, right? Yeah, to bring the main in, there would be no point in doing that 2 or 3 times for a bunch of companies and destroying your guys' neighborhood. So they just do it once. They give everybody that, that connection. And then eventually probably, that copper system will get pulled out, right? Just like the old telephone lines and stuff like that, So CenturyLink's not coming down. So that's actually, why they put us in to be the provider for this neighborhood, for the internet upgrade over here. Since we hadn't heard from you and we didn't get you connected last year, that is actually why they sent me back over today, because we are trying to get this entire Willowbrook area done right now and not come back over here next year. Most of the folks are done, but there's a handful of you, for some reason or the other, just never got connected last year. So I'm simply just trying to figure out what day would be good while we're doing the route next week. We got Wednesdays, Thursdays, and then Saturday morning. There's a couple of spots left. If you wanted it this time around, because I don't think we're coming back on these free installs. If you guys did want it, I can go ahead and squeeze you in on one of those. We'll get you done. You probably heard the deal. We'll get you set up, and you guys can go ahead and start saving money for the better internet over here, like everybody else has been doing since last year. So, but I never really answered their question. But I just told them systematically, here's what's happening in the world. Here's what's happening in the country. And I wouldn't say all of that at one door. I would use, like a fourth of that, like whatever was the pertinent part for this customer. But there's like everything I might say, maybe, a bunch of it. Right, a big blast, but here's what was happening in the country. Here's what was happening to every resident. The municipality or the HOA or some higher power above you and I's ability to be in charge of decided to give you this internet at the house, which we can't control. I happen to work for that company. No other company's probably coming in here, and so that's why, in which they can deduce, I have to get this internet, right? You don't want to tell them you have to get our internet. And now we're going to have a monopoly on the whole neighborhood, which is what's the case in most places, right? But you can talk about how they want to get off the monopoly that Comcast was. And now they have the option for this, but they're going to figure it out that there's going to be one internet left in the neighborhood again, and it's going to be this one. It's actually, I probably should get on it now while they're giving it to me for free, because the reality is you have to get on our internet eventually over here, lady. And if you don't do it now while it's free with the promos, we are going to rake you later. So do it now, right? Yeah, so go out was kind of that energy, and they sent me over here to finish this thing up for the municipality. And then everybody loves it because it ends up being cheaper, faster internet. And another way to throw cheaper, faster in there too is like, you can also just say it like, I won't bore you with the details. Everybody down here knows that the fiber is much faster and probably half the price of what you're paying. But what we're doing today is simply just, because they may not even know that, right? But if you throw it out as, I'm not even going to go into the details. Everybody knows that it's faster and cheaper, and that the whole country's switching to it. It's more reliable. It's more secure. Blah blah blah. Whatever you want to throw in there as the features. Everybody knows, has known. It's common knowledge. I won't bore you with the details. I'm not here to sell you internet. If you're alive, it's better, right? The fiber. Here's what I'm doing. But if you say it like that, people will think, well, shoot, I didn't know that. Like, am I that out of touch with what's going on? Like, everybody knows fiber's better. Where have I been? Holy crap, I got to catch up. I'm getting left in the 40s over here, right? So how you frame stuff changes how they think about it, and how they think about it changes their perspective of you. And that's That's what they're going to base whether they're buying this from you or not on, is whether they like you and like how they think about you, right? Because can't say it enough. We got 75% body language, 15% how you're saying it, 10% is what you're saying. That's never going to change. All right. So there was another little good bit on the HOA bit. There's a lot of ways to deal with that, but there's kind of my favorite, which is deflect, rearrange, and go systematic on them. And we're just pawns in this bigger picture, ma'am. You know, and then if they even drill you harder, it's like, so the HOA, you know, you can add, you know, so the HOA approved this whole project and everything, of course, when they chose our company to put it in here. So, you know, way back, this whole thing's been approved. So yeah, no big deal. Then they'll say, well, normally if we were going to come in here, we would have all gotten an email at the same time that said that the internet was going to come in on Tuesday and Wednesday and expect the guys in the neighborhood. Well, you know, I'm not sure if they sent that out or not, or you missed it. You know, it could have just been they sent one a couple years ago, because we have gotten most of the other neighbors on. Like I said, there's just a handful of you guys left that got missed. I don't know if you were on a trip or something, you know, they probably did do that. You might have just missed it. You know, so that's why they sent me out here actually today, is because we probably aren't coming back to do these free installs over here again, or definitely not much longer. You know, they're worth like $2,000 or $3,000 on the house. So before we get out of the area once and for all, some of the people over here, they missed the memo. I don't know, but let's get you done now to make sure you don't get hit with that install later, you know, the install fee. I just couldn't handle seeing you guys pay for that when you had the chance to get it free now. You know, and once it's in or whatever, yeah, I mean, everybody else down here's already got it. So obviously it's all good in the HOA because most of the neighborhood's already on it. You know, I still never really answer their questions if I have like a permit for today, but there's a difference between permits and permission. You know, it's like God gave me permission to be in here. So do I need the permit? Questionable, right? So anyway, there's my 2 cents on that. Anybody, last questions, comments, anything? And then I think we'll wrap this one up for today.